listening to the local on the Zeds. That was the Overthinking remix from Sample and Ghosty G and the new 6-track EP Life Sentences. We still have Sample with us. So how did you and Ghosty G find each other?
That's an interesting story, actually, because while we were recording this EP, we were talking about all that sort of stuff, and basically it was back in the MySpace days, and we kind of connected through that. I think from memory, he saw through one of the hip hop forums on online. I think it was Oz Hip Hop Forum or something like that. Excuse me. Sorry, I shouldn't have drunk iced coffee on the way. I've been avoiding it, but yeah. So he had seen me post up a video clip, which was a song from. Oh, it feels like a lifetime ago. I think it was 2004. I released an album called The Outsider under my former pseudonym of Hectic. And there was a track on there that I did called Long Story Short, which I did with a mate of mine who went by the name Syntax. And we decided to make a film clip about it. And it was basically just him and I playing pool, drinking, and just being idiots. And it came together pretty well, but I don't know whatever happened to it. But Ghosty saw that and kind of reached out to me through MySpace. And then when Facebook came around, we kind of just naturally progressed over there. And we've just always sort of been on the same wavelength. So we've remained friends. And then, as I mentioned off air, like a few years back now, he came over to visit a friend of his who at the time was living in Port Adelaide. And while he was visiting her, he reached out to me and said, "Hey, I'm in Adelaide. Like, let's catch up and actually meet." And we caught up for a coffee and had a chat. And yeah, it was really cool. Like we sort of really connected on a more of a real level, I suppose you could say.
Yeah.
And we just stayed in touch. And yeah, we've talked about doing music together for a while, but we've usually only done a track here or there. And so this time we thought, no, let's dig right in and do something a bit more substantial.
Yeah, cool. So you've sort of spoken about it a little bit, but what's the general process for these tracks? So it's just been...
Yeah, so basically like as I mentioned earlier, I'm working on a new album, so I'm constantly making beats, and some of them they fit my album kind of, I guess, my own album brief, if you will, and so I'll put them aside, and then I end up with leftovers that don't suit that album feel for me, and so I'll just throw them all to Ghosty, and then when we got ones that we both liked, we'd then go, okay, well, your turn or my turn to kind of come up with a concept, and we basically split it 50-50. So 3 tracks were Ghosty's kind of chorus / concept, and 3 were mine. And then, so if it was one of mine, like Bigger Man, for example, then I would write the chorus, and then I'd write my verse, send it to Ghosty, and then he would write a verse to match it. And then he'd send it to me, and I'd be like, yep, that's cool, or whatever, if I didn't like it. But I liked everything he did, so there was never an issue. But a couple of times he said to me, on the demo, I like the aggression or something in your voice, so make sure you keep that when you record it properly. But yeah, once we got that all sorted, then we were like, okay, we'll need to record it properly. Interestingly enough, he decided to jump on a flight and come down to Adelaide and crashed at my place for the weekend, and we basically smashed out the whole EP over the weekend recording together.
That's very cool.
He almost didn't make it though, because it was around the time of those flooding and cyclones were hitting northern Queensland. And it was very much touch and go. At one stage, he was calling me saying, I don't even know if I'm going to get to the airport. But thankfully he did.
Yeah.
Came down. We spent the weekend recording, and this is the result.
The rest is history.
Yeah, exactly.